Usually we start by brainstorming some exciting specific idea, some cool magic or a setting or a character that we want to build an adventure around, and then we expand it and we figure out the goal our characters are going to pursue based on this specific exciting premise. Today we are going to start brainstorming our adventure with an objective instead. So we will first try to come up with a goal our players are going to pursue, and it's going to be like an abstract idea, something that players need to do, and then we will expand it into more specific and concrete details and build the adventure in more details on top of that. I will give you a couple of examples right now to explain how it works. This is still untested, but I think it's pretty exciting and I think it can be an interesting way to create adventures. So, do you guys have the adventure idea generator open?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
I have the adventure prompt open.
Yeah, but in my post I have also shared a
adventure
idea generator PDF. It's a PDF file with a bunch of sections: action, social, exploration, and mystery.
I see it. Yep. Okay, I just got it.
Yep. Does everybody see it?
Yep, got it. Oh, I've seen this before.
Yep. So what we are going to do is we will first create a goal that our players are going to pursue throughout the adventure. We will start. I'm just gonna give you an example so that you see how it works. So the first step for creating a goal is to just look at the 4 sections in the middle. So it's 4 adventure types: action, social, exploration, or mystery. This is general types, and underneath them are lists of goal ideas for our players to pursue. So I'm going to pick one idea for a goal. For example, I look at social and I see pit people against each other. I think this is a fun objective that we have not explored yet, and it would be a challenging thing for players to do, so I'm going to add it to the first bullet point in the adventure brainstorming template. The next step, I'm going to pick a secondary goal. So this is something that the heroes need to do in order to achieve their primary goal. For example, let's see over here. So I'm looking at the action list and I see enter. Actually, I'm going to look at the exploration and I see enter a guarded place. So I think it immediately sparks idea in my mind. So maybe the players need to do some kind of reverse heist where they have to enter some guarded place and maybe plant some evidence or clues that are going to pit people against each other, and that would be an interesting challenge that we have also not explored yet. So right now what we have is that we need to pit people against each other by entering a guarded place. And one final step I want to do is to make something that makes this goal more challenging, more difficult to accomplish. So at the right you see the sections for constraints and for villains actions. So these are the things you can add to the adventure idea to make it more difficult for players and more exciting. So for example, I'm just going to add a constraint that the players must be stealthy. So what I have as the result is that our goal is to pit the people against each other by entering a guarded place. And the players must be sneaky. And in the next step, I know this idea is kind of abstract, but in the next step we are going to discuss more specific and interesting details that will actually turn it into something more tangible. So now I would like us to brainstorm about 3 to 5 goals like this one. And then they will be completely unrelated from each other. They will be entirely different, and then we will pick our favorite one and see which one we would like to go with. So
put them in. Do we just put them in the document?
Yes. So do you see the main objective section in the brainstorming template? The first one.
Yep.
Yeah. So we are going to do about 3 to 5 ideas and 1 idea per bullet point. So,
Thanks.
Flute, do you want to go next and develop your objective?
Yeah, this is very different, but I like it. Should be interesting. We're kind of working backwards from what we normally do.
Yep.
So I like the journey through a hazardous territory, and I also like the idea of delivering something through through hazardous territory.
Nice.
One of the constraints that I think would be interesting is there's incomplete and false information.
Ooh, that's cool. So I imagine like a mysterious package, like a gigantic box that sometimes maybe from the box there are like some groans or like some screeches from inside the box, but you don't know what you're supposed to deliver.
No, he went hard. He went like you have no clue. You have wrong clue. Nice.
So you just write that in the main objective, right?
Yep. Yeah. Can you please add it to the second bullet point? Also, before we continue, sorry, I forgot to mention one more thing. So what the example I gave you, it would be picking a goal that our players try to pursue, right? But we can also, the alternative approach to that is that we can pick a goal that we want the antagonist, we want our players to try to stop the antagonist from achieving. So for example, I could look at the goals such as destroy a target, and I can say that our players need to destroy some target, or I could say that our villain tries to destroy some target and we are trying to stop him. And I think this is it kind of doubles the amount of options that we have, so it's something you also can do.
Nice.
All right, Nico, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I like this very much. All right, I would go with sabotage a project. Some mysterious project they need to sabotage, and the way they have to do it is a little bit of cunningness and social. They have to find a spy or a traitor.
Ooh,
They have to find a they have to fish that spy out, and let's see with the constraints.
Another daddy's.
Oh, I like this one. They must do it while protecting someone, and that someone must maybe be, perhaps can be a person of interest that can help them to sabotage the project.
Ooh, that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
That's actually a lot of the plot of Shadow and Bone, the first one, which is really cool.
Oh yeah. No, yeah.
All right, so please add it,
yes.
Please add it to the template.
Sabotage a project. We have to find the spy or a traitor. But we have to babysit. Where is it? All right, there it is. Here we go.
Wonderful. Yoji, I think you said your name was Parker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, wanna have a go at this?
Sure. Are we allowed more than one complication?
Sure. I mean, if you really like to, then sure.
A crime. While dealing with a natural disaster. And villain impersonates somebody else.
Ooh, that's interesting. So there's some kind of, maybe the villain has caused this natural disaster. That's why we need to solve it to find him.
Yeah, I was also thinking of maybe it's like a murder and the natural disaster is going to get rid of the evidence, so the villain's trying their best to distract you as the evidence slowly gets more and more destroyed.
There's also another great movie that has that premise. Actually, it's not a great movie. It's a terrible movie, but it's about a bank robbery that happens in a hurricane. So there's a hurricane that strikes and everyone leaves, but everyone's waiting for this hurricane so they could rob a bank. It's kind of a cool scenario.
What's the name of the movie?
I think it's called Hurricane. Let me look it up.
All right. Sounds interesting.
Conan, do you want to add your idea?
Okay, yeah. I was thinking of, I don't know how to pronounce this word. It's size or size, social or political power.
Seize.
Seize social political power by kidnapping someone. Now, I would like to explore the part where the heroes are a bit gray area heroes. Kind of like revolutionary type. Is this for the greater good or not?
Mm-hmm. Some back thoughts. Are you or are you not?
No.
Parker, can you please either mute or switch to push to talk? Because yeah, there are some voices. In the
There
background.
is someone who wants something and someone else who says no. You're not gonna get it. Kidnap someone. Nice.
Okay, so we need to kidnap someone, and what makes it difficult?
What makes it difficult?
Yeah, so pick something from constraints or from villain actions.
Dice,
sorry.
man, the dice.
Must cooperate with the enemy.
Interesting. I immediately
very,
picture.
very good.
Yeah, so maybe there's like some kind of evil king or emperor, and there are two rivaling factions, but they have to begrudgingly work with each other. Unless they are both destroyed by the ruler. Alright, so I think we have a bunch of exciting ideas. And before we continue picking one idea, I realized that I forgot something. I wanted us to first discuss a genre for our adventure. Typically, we create adventures in a lighthearted fantasy world, but recently we have been thinking about expanding into other genres because it can be fun to experiment. We just had created a really fun sci-fi adventure, but we can also try a western or horror or whatever you guys are into.
I was talking with Blurred about a really interesting cyberpunk setting, which was kind of like a William Gibson and William Gibson Mega Man type setting, which is kind of fun.
Cool.
That is fun. That is fun. I'm open to all ideas. I usually run in a fantasy setting, but I would really like to explore other genres as well.
Awesome. What about you?
I personally would go for fantasy because I happen to be doing some heavy fantasy games right now. But we do fantasy almost every time. So if we change, it's fine. But my vote is fantasy.
Cool. Conan and Parker, what do you guys think?
I mean, I'm fine with fantasy. I think horror might be cool for some of the prompts, but
I will go with the majority.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe for the first time, for my first time, I would also stick to fantasy. Then next time we're gonna expand.
Okay, wonderful. Let's go with fantasy. So next, we want to pick the goal that we can discuss these goals, and we can see which one we find the most interesting. Maybe develop these ideas a bit. And our goal, what we are trying to do now, is to pick the goal that we are the most excited about and that we want to create an adventure on. So if anybody has immediately a preference for one of those, you can just say it. If one of those goals sparks an idea in your head that you would like to discuss, that's also something we can do.
I like sabotage a project while finding a spy or a traitor. That's what I like.
I like the escort something through hazardous terrain with missing information.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I have some ideas for my sabotage project, but this journey through hazardous area with false information, it's really bugging my ear what that false information is. So I would vote for that one.
Yeah. I just have such a vivid picture in my head, a bunch of people going through either the desert or some hurricane area, and they're desperately trying to deliver a gigantic mystery box, and there's roaring and some angry angry shadows from the box are coming. Like, so there's some kind of creature or a monster inside, but they don't know why it is there.
Yeah.
So that sounds exciting to me. Also, we can combine multiple ideas. So if we need to deliver this mystery package in order to either protect it, so it could be something that we need to protect, or it could be something that we need in order to sabotage a project.
Yeah, looks like it's journey through hazardous area.
Yeah.
Everybody's on board with that?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Now we are going to take this goal and develop specific details. So we are going to... I want you guys to either think about the ideas that just inspired by stories or just come into your mind naturally, or you can take a look at the adventure prompts tool and pitch ideas based on the prompts that you see on the images, for example. So usually exciting premise, it's either an exciting setting that we want to deal with, or an exciting some kind of supernatural element. It could be like a magical technology or an item or a cool creature, or it could be a fun villain, like anything really concrete and specific that really sparks our imagination.
Okay.
So I'm going to say it's a giant box with a gargoyle inside.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually an interesting premise. You can look to Edgar Allan Poe with the Purloined Letter is actually kind of cool. They did the same thing with Pulp Fiction. So it doesn't matter what is in the box, but the box is definitely like the most. It is this whole driver of the story.
Mm-hmm.
I ran a game a long time ago that was really cool. It was called The Box with Three Locks, and that was exactly what it was. Is they were moving this box, and there were three locks on it, and three people had keys. Everyone knew that whatever was in this thing was valuable enough, worth dying for, but they never actually knew what was in the box.
Yeah, personally,
Nice.
I would prefer for us to actually have a specific idea. Like Pulp Fiction is fun and cool, but I think it would be more useful for us to have a specific idea, because that will probably be easier to build an adventure around, and probably players would want to know what's inside, and also opening the box at the climax, for example, and revealing a bunch of clues to this mystery. I just feel that it would be more fun.
To get you straight, to understand you correctly, the players need to know what is inside of the box.
That's what I would prefer. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I like Flute's idea, and I would like to just throw this out there. That this mystery of what is inside, it must be valuable for some reason, and perhaps the people who are escorting it, perhaps they are doing it either for money or something, but they are under a contract, and they maybe in theory don't care so much what is inside. But so they don't know exactly what is inside, but they know it's valuable. And then there's this conflict of like, what should we do with it?
Mm-hmm.
Should we fulfill our contract and
Or not.
deliver it, although it's very dangerous?
If I may, I also would expand on Fruit's idea. I really like that players do not know what is inside, but what exciting idea is that this box, it is known to the world. Like the location of it, it's known, and it attracts people and monsters and whatever of all kind. So it's like you move the box, and whoever like wants to know the location of the box just knows it. It's like ever present, like a beacon or some sort.
Oh, we recently have brainstormed an adventure about the lighthouse that attracts monsters. So it could be some kind of thing that. So you have to transport basically a monster attracting.
Yeah. Okay. I'll think of something else. Okay.
No. It's actually a good idea. Like we didn't finish the previous ideas adventure, so it would be fun to use it in this one if that's what we want to go with.
Yeah, maybe just the artifact or the box attracts, or it's just the location. It's always known, so you cannot easily hide it. You cannot just female monster.
yeah. Imagine just a female monster inside that really attracts a bunch of horny monsters that
Okay.
want to rescue it. It's probably too silly, but
All right, leave it. We will see where it goes.
Yeah, I really like the idea actually.
what do you guys think? I think it would be actually like we will decide whether we want players to know what's inside or not, but I think it would be good for us to know it. So do you guys want it to be some kind of creature? Do you want it to be a weapon of some danger, artifact, maybe even like a person?
I don't think we can know that until we know a little bit more of the story, because it's going to be
Yeah.
an integral part of the story.
Yeah, I think it's gonna. Yeah, it's gonna be like the crucial part of the story, whether you know what's inside or not. So
Yeah.
I would leave it for a little bit, maybe develop the plot.
I agree.
Okay. I just felt like if we knew what's inside, it would be much easier to build a story around it. Like for example, if you have a monster inside, then it's one story. So maybe it's being delivered as a weapon to kill something, or maybe it's delivered to make more monsters and to create army of them. And that's one story. If it's like a prisoner inside, then maybe it's a witness that somebody tries to murder, and we need to protect it. But for some reason, he's really dangerous, so we need to keep him like trapped inside. So I feel like answering to this would really help us to develop the story. But if you want, guys, we can also talk about something else, like literally any exciting sci-fi or fantasy idea that comes into your mind and you want to include in this adventure. You can do this. So it can be a cool setting, it could be a cool villain, or whatever comes into your mind. Just add it to the list.
Just to expand on your bit, I agree with what you said, but also on the other side, in the other hand, if a quest giver, a person of power, gives players like 30,000 gold pieces, 15 now and 50 when you deliver the box, and you don't know what's inside it. That's also something that players would be like, fuck it, we're gonna deliver it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm not saying that players need to know that. I'm just saying that it would be good for us. to know it.
We as the creators. Okay, I get you. All right, team. The box with 3 locks. That is a very interesting idea.
Yeah. To me, it feels that if I know what it is as a creator about it, at this moment, it will constrain so much the directions where it can go, that I'd rather not know it and then brainstorm a bit more.
Yeah,
what
I
I
agree.
want to get out of it. Like what's interesting about having this box that attracts monsters, and these people have to deliver it. Like, what's interesting about it? And to me, what is interesting about it is this conflict of the players of should we open it or not? Should we actually deliver it? Is it a good thing to deliver it or not?
I 100% agree with you.
There's a cool story in American history. There's a box that people have been looking for since the Revolutionary War. We have a famous general who he's famous because he's a traitor, but he was famous before he was a traitor. His name is Benedict Arnold, if anyone's familiar with who he was. In the Revolutionary War, he was he was a big star, but he actually didn't feel like he was getting all the attention that he deserved, and so he sided with the British and he betrayed the Americans. The most important part is that he had an interesting mission. He had a box that was filled with the army's pay, so it had all the army's salary, and he accidentally, when they were crossing a river, he dropped it into the river, and it sank. And we've been looking for that box ever since, because it had like 64,000 silver pieces in it, which of course, and this is Revolutionary War time. It'd be worth a fortune now, but it was the pay of the soldiers. And so it was just kind of an interesting story about this lost box that everyone wants it, but no one knows exactly where it is. And they know they know it's real. It was dropped in the water.
Well, actually, but that also brings me because back then the information wasn't so certain, right? Like, it's very convenient that it just slips out of the carriage right next to the river, right?
Yeah. Oops, I dropped it. Clumsy me.
And also, since Benedict Arnold is also known to be a traitor, that's where things get really interesting too.
Yeah.
Right.
That is a very, very cool fact.
Cool.
piece of history.
Ooh, it's somebody's body inside for some reason.
Somebody's
Anyways, so
body.
if you guys would rather talk about different parts of the story instead of figuring out what's inside, I would like us to talk about the exciting setting we would place it in, or we could talk about the reasons somebody needs this box delivered.
Yeah.
Do we want to deliver this box like maybe it's like a payment for to somebody, or is it something like a weapon that we need to use, like just literally drop the one ring into the Mount Doom to destroy our enemies? Or what do you guys think would be the exciting purpose for it?
I have an idea of interesting location that the path the party has to take, and this is building upon attracting monsters, but it doesn't have. It just a thought. It doesn't have to be this way. That they have to go through a holy land of some sort, like a land where there are temples and peaceful nation, and so it becomes a problem, because if they go through that holy land and they drag that box that attracts the monsters and the cutthroats and everything, it becomes a much bigger problem.
Nice. That's really cool. Adding to that, they could also, at some point in some scene, they have to cross through like a market or somewhere with a lot of people, a lot of innocents, and they have to decide.
Yes.
Because maybe until then they don't know that it attracts monsters.
Yes.
Because
Until
they have to
the
go
monster
through.
comes out and kills someone or something. Yeah.
Holy Land is fun.
Yeah, Conan, I really like your playing with the choices. Really, really deep, man. I really like it. Excellent.
Thanks. Yeah, I wonder, maybe in the beginning they don't know that this box attracts monsters. They just tell them that they want a big escort, maybe some very prestigious mercenaries or something. And the mercenaries are like, oh, come on, yeah, sure, I can deliver this box. That's no big deal. And then they start noticing that they get attacked more and more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Lumen posted something really kind of funny that goes along with this a little while ago. We were talking about some of our favorite magic items, and one of his was catnip. And so, like, there is, but this catnip is some serious shit. It attracts cats of all sorts for miles and miles. And the thing is that humans can't smell it. It doesn't smell like anything, but cats absolutely can smell it. And so we might play with a premise like that. So it doesn't attract monsters. It attracts one particular type of monster over and over and over, and they are going nuts for it. And it could be really cute because, if let's say it is cats, you've got, like all these strays that are following you, but then you get lions and tigers who are really trying to get you.
Yeah, monstrosities or aberrational cats or some sort.
Exactly. Displacer beast or something. If you guys know what a displacer beast is. Yeah, so something like a really fucked up cat.
The mama cat.
Yes, and that would be so awesome.
That's the female monster.
I really like the idea because it would be so cute at first. Where you're like, oh, look at all these kittens and these cats that are like, they're rolling around and they're acting all cute around us. But I mean, the real bad guy it's a displacer beast, and that thing is going to stop at nothing to get that box. And that box could be very, innocent. That could be like a druid or something. It was like, do not open this box under any circumstance. But he fails to tell you that he's like, yeah, it's filled with fucking weed. it's got cat weed in it, and you will attract every cat around if you open this box.
The most beautiful death, being licked to death by kittens.
Yes, I actually have something in my Harry Potter game. They're called kitten wings, and they look like little kittens with angel wings. But they swarm. They swarm in packs, and you can get really charmed by them because they're so cute. But they are carnivorous, and they like will start to like swarm on things. So like they'll land on people, but then they'll get like 50 of them to land on you and like weigh you down. And it's just, they're actually really interesting creatures. You're totally welcome to use kitten wings.
Like, oh, look, a cutie. Oh, fuck, no cutie. Roll initiative.
Okay,
I
so
love this.
So why do we want to deliver this? I imagine that it could be like a weapon of stealth assassination. So once you deliver it to somebody, he will be just pursued by cats. Like you just spray somebody stealthily with this thing, and he just walks around, and eventually he gets mauled by a bunch of cats without understanding why. So it could be like a weapon. What else would be a purpose of it?
There's another great story that you just reminded me of, Mike. So there's a drug dealer down in Mexico who collects tigers, and he's got his own zoo, and he's just he's super rich, so he's got tigers. But if people wanted to actually put a hit on this drug dealer, they send catnip into his zoo to essentially make all of his zoo, his cat zoo, fucking lose it.
Wait, is this for real? Is this something that happened to...
No. I mean, this obviously didn't happen. There is a drug dealer in Mexico that has a bunch of tigers. And I was thinking that, if you take that idea and say, like, why are you doing this? If you wanted to make it a hit, there's essentially a druid, who was like, I hate this guy who is collecting all these wild cats, and I'm going to play the ultimate trick on him. I'm going to deliver catnip into his zoo and watch his zoo fucking lose their minds.
I really, really like this idea, really. Yeah, and I thought of one more to expand on your catnip and Lumen's question, why do we deliver it? We deliver the ultimate catnip, the box, to the royal cat of a princess.
Royal cat of a princess, I like that.
Just because it's addicted, it's just, I can stop whenever I want.
Yeah, like the princess, she demanded that special catnip for her cat, or for her angel wing cat. I love that.
I had a really creepy protagonist, not a protagonist, an antagonist in one of my games, who she was obsessed with her cats. She was a princess who loved her cats, but she carried around an urn of her favorite cat. And so she always referred to her cat like it was still there, but it was just an urn. Of course, she saw the ghost of her cat, and no one actually realized that part. So she looked crazy as shit, but the cat was her familiar, and it still was around her. So, but no one else could tell that.
This is so amazing. So this catnip is so potent that it can resurrect a cat. So basically she orders a catnip because if you rub it into the cat's body, into her favorite kitten, the ghost goes back into the body.
That is awesome idea. And to expand on that, the princess believes that, but that is actually not true. What will happen when you deliver that and she realizes that it doesn't bring her cat back?
Yeah, that could be something that's really interesting. That goes back to the whole false premise, which is she totally believes that this balm that you are delivering, it's so potent, it will bring her beloved cat back. I mean, we could go the direction of Pet Cemetery, which might be interesting, or we could just go to the direction that like all cats are just driven mad by this by this thing we're trying to deliver.
Okay.
I personally like delivering it to a drug dealer or some guy who collects a zoo. And the druid hates him for doing that, and he's just like, I'm going to play the ultimate trick on you, which is I will have your own cats destroy you.
Conan and Parker, what do you think about it?
I actually like the idea of it being for a brat like a princess, like, oh my god, my cat, something like that.
Mhm.
And like the whole process of getting the catnip has a huge cost on these innocent people in the market, and etc. And in the end, it's just so that this lady can like recover her cat because she lost
Her
the
bloody
cat.
cat. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
like
like
that as well.
Yeah, I like the idea about the catnip attracting a bunch of cats. It reminds me of a Lovecraft story called Cats of Ulthar.
Huh? I didn't read that story. What is it about?
Basically, it's about this town where you're not allowed to kill cats because there's this old couple that used to do it, and in the end, this giant swarm of cats eats them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Personally, I think I would vote for an assassination mission just because it makes it easier for me to choose the climax of the adventure. I mean, I don't quite see it, but it feels easier to make something up based on assassination rather than in the zoo, of all places, as opposed to doing something exciting with the idea of a princess resurrecting a cat. Although,
Yeah, I
if
agree.
you guys
I
have good
agree.
ideas on that, I'm open to that as well.
But I agree. But what if we make the princess a dark necromancy witch, and then when players realize that it's a false information, just as Flute said, then we have a final boss. Then we have that necromantic little
Yeah.
princess witch that is like, now you're gonna be my pet, bitch.
Nice. And I like the necromancy part because maybe the process of bringing it and like all those lives that it cost were actually feeding it.
Mm-hmm. That is very good, Conan. Yeah.
So there's two different directions we could go. I'll call one the zookeeper,
Yeah.
and the other. Are you guys familiar with who Liliana is in Magic the Gathering?
Unfortunately.
No.
Liliana is like one of their main characters in Magic the Gathering. She's a necromancer, and she's like this super badass necromancer. It's kind of fun to think about her with her cat. Like this super badass necromancer, but she's obsessed with her cat. And and that could be an interesting one. So the cat necromancer. So I think we kind of limited it down to like those two ideas.
Yeah.
Are there any
Yeah.
Zookeeper and Liliana. Or anyone others.
Yeah, guys.
Can you
Yeah, I want to say that I think these ideas are cool. We have about 15 minutes more to just settle on one of those, and I would like us to do a couple of things. First, if somebody has an entirely different idea about what's in the box and related to cats, so that we had more. Not because I don't like it, but because it's always good to come up with something entirely different. It always helps with something cool. And second is that I would like us to think about an exciting setting, because since we have to journey through the hazardous environment, it would be really, really cool if we figured out a specific hazardous area that would be really fun to travel through, that probably has a bunch of innocents, but also a bunch of environmental hazards, and something that would be difficult to get the box through.
Maybe it's set in a swamp, which would make all the cats going and swimming through the water even weirder.
Yeah, and super creepy, because now you got these cats that are matted with mud and they look fucking insane.
And
Yeah, none of them
they're angry
drowned.
because you made them wet. They're angry because you made them wet.
Yeah, and it would be clear that something's very wrong. Like cats should not be doing this.
Yeah.
I like the idea that like one of the most dangerous environments, would be going through a zoo carrying bait, which is just kind of a fun concept to me.
Yeah.
I also love the idea of kitten wings and the beginning where it seems like a really cute adventure because you've got cats rolling around and it baits the players into a false sense of security and like, oh, this is going to be a kind of a cute adventure, and it's like, no, fuck no, these cats are going to rip your throats out.
A kind of mechanic to scale it up, that would be that maybe in the beginning the box is just like a toy for cats or like something curious or interesting for cats, and then as they progress as it's a hazardous area, maybe there's death around them probably, and then the box starts feeding from that death that is coming around, and it's getting more powerful, and then it's attracting
evolves.
more cats and.
Absolutely, I like that idea as well. And to expand on Flute's idea, maybe because we are traveling through the swamp, and I see here a swamp witch who wants the package for a ritual. Maybe during the travel through swamp, we stumble upon a witch or a hag that has like a mini zoo in a swamp.
And she's a crazy cat lady. She's like, why are you taking all of my cats?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, nice. And you actually inadvertently steal a cat from a witch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. We had a game like that. The Frankenstein's Castle game had something really similar to that, and I think that works really well. The idea of stealing another witch's familiar on accident is kind of cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Maybe the witch is the target of the hit, but you just don't know it yet.
she's like the zoo drug dealer. So you deliver it to the witch, and that's fun. I feel like that fits. Another thing, I'm currently looking at the prompt that has the Egyptian pyramid in it, and I feel like it's an unusual setting, and also Egyptians worship cats or something like that. Maybe there's something to it. Some kind of like it's Egyptian pharaoh princess type thing. We could have a bunch of mummies for some reason there. We could have a bunch of holy cats. And since everybody is worshipping cats, you can't really just get them to get rid of you. I feel like there's some connection there.
There totally is, because there's both necromancy, there's princesses, and there's cat worship, all in that setting.
I like this.
Yeah, that could be a really cool
all of those three concepts. It solidifies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be a surprise. I mean, it would be like a surprise to the players for a little while, but there's some really interesting settings there. So there are ziggurats, there are pyramids.
They had to travel through, and then maybe they stumble upon something even more hazardous, like a crumbling ziggurat or a swamp made of sand. Like it goes all wet and everything.
There's also a great cat magic creature called the Sphinx that we could play with.
Yes,
That is so cool.
Yeah,
yes, this is really cool.
That is
that would be an awesome one.
Final boss or something.
Also, I think we should probably, if this is all about the catnip box, we should probably have our climax take place in some populated area. So maybe the pyramid is not the kind of pyramid that has a dead pharaoh in it. Maybe it's the kind of pyramid that has a bunch of royalty sitting in it. I think there was something like that in Game of Thrones, where Daenerys was sitting in a gigantic pyramid.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea.
I also love the idea that it's probably not catnip in this box. It's probably like a statue, like an onyx statue of a cat. It's like something. I mean, because these guys worship cats.
Yeah,
and it is like a cat idol. Now it is locked in the box, and the players don't know that yet. But if they open it up, it's this 15-inch or 2-foot tall onyx cat. That is a cat idol, and it drives cats mad. It attracts them like crazy. So I think that could be a really cool item.
Absolutely, I agree with it. Parker, what do you think about it?
I think it'd be cool because it would also let you slot that into any sort of adventure as sort of a magical item. And that also plays into the choices of, well, do we take this really cool thing that lets us like get a bunch of cat allies, or do we go for the money?
Yeah,
I mean, get cat familiars. That is a really cool item where you could be like, hey, I'm going to get a tiger familiar from this thing.
Yeah, morale choices, just as Conan started. That is a really cool concept.
Yeah, I like it too.
Okay, wonderful. Personally, I would also like to refloat the idea of a living cat. or not necessarily a cat, but some kind of cat-like monster, maybe female sphinx. That would be fun.
Oh yeah, I think
mini
I think
boss.
that would be awesome.
So
yeah,
so like maybe this necromancer princess, maybe she wants to breed sphinxes. She's like, you know, like a horse girl, like a girl who really loves ponies. So she's like literally obsessed with sphinxes. That's like her hobby. She's like, Daddy, I want a sphinx for my birthday. I want to make a bunch of them. And he's
I
like,
love it.
Yes, my darling, we will build a whole army of sphinxes and use them to destroy our enemies.
Yeah, and then she made a sphinx or tamed a sphinx or something. She acquired the sphinx somehow, and then the sphinx died. And then that's the whole premise, that she now needs the statue.
It could also be that maybe the thing inside the box is like a sphinx who's being imprisoned for something and is summoning all the cats to try to get her free. And the end boss is when all the cats like get her freed.
Yeah, the statue is actually the statue that Flute said is actually a imprisoned sphinx.
it's a figurine of wondrous power. If you
Yeah.
guys played D&D,
Yeah.
it's it is a sphinx. It's
Yes.
like a dryad's soul is connected to a tree. This thing is connected to a sphinx.
Absolutely love this. Absolutely love this. And it's amazing, and it just like prompted like from an hour of work from a journey through hazardous area. Love it. Love it.
Wonderful. Okay,
We
I
have
feel like
catnips and everything.
at this point we can move on to the next part. We are still going to need to think about narrowing down. We have a bunch of ideas. We will probably need to pick one and settle on one. But while we are thinking on it, we might as well think about a bunch of fun and interesting locations in the next section. And because it will give us time to brainstorm more stuff, and it's also relatively easy. So I think we have.
So yeah, nice. Quicksand, yes, quicksand. The market. Don't forget the market.
Yeah, that's also a great fit. Maybe a black market.
Yeah, maybe a black market that you stumbled upon by accident.
Yeah. Can we have some kind of a swamp in the Egypt? So it's kind of a combination of not necessarily a desert, but maybe there's some jungle nearby, some Mayan vibes, some.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we have more of a setting to play with, not just the sand, but like the sand and the jungle and the swamp, which is the link between the two.
You could also have, instead of a marketplace, a circus with a bunch of people watching a show, and as they pass by, the circus cats just go insane.
Yes. Yes, I love it.
Amazing. And where are we going to start? What would you like to? It would probably need to be something remote, or at least like if we are going on a big journey, it has to be remote. Or if it's not remote, then we would have to pack a bunch of locations in a small space.
Yeah.
There would need to be
I would start remote. Sorry, if I interrupted you. I would start remote.
What if there's like a river next to pyramids? Maybe this package arrives in the port, and that's from the place from which we have to deliver.
Yes, from the
The
port.
Nile.
Nile
and
port.
then that lets you go through like a swampy area and then into like a desert to go at.
Yes, Nile port.
Yeah, the Nile actually offers all of those. Like, it won't be the Nile River, but it will be something. Like it has gardens, it has swamps, and everything near the river is like that. But then, as soon as you leave the river, it's arid. It completely changes. Like as soon as you actually leave the Nile River basin.
Yeah.
So you could go into the whole Egyptian feel it and the arid part. But if we wanted to get quicksand and all that shit, we actually can with having this river.
Oh my god!
and-
Inside the river there are sea lions, which are also kind of cats.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go with that. And to expand on the morality side of the quest, then players have to choose whether will they go through close to the river where it's easy path but filled with people which are liability, or do they take it away from the river, which is the swamp, the jungle, the dangerous part, but it is safer for the people, the innocent.
Nice.
I have an adjacent comment about that. What I'm going to say is that since we're kind of leaning towards this is an imprisoned sphinx, but the players don't know that yet. But what could be really cool is these animals, they're not. This isn't catnip, and they're not trying to be playful. They're trying to free the Sphinx. The Sphinx itself is calling to animals to help it. It's imprisoned. Now the players don't know this, but the Sphinx is just saying, "Please help me." So when sea lions come, all the sea lions are trying to, they're trying to break the box. They're trying to get the Sphinx out because the Sphinx is calling to them, like Aquaman calls to everything in the sea.
That is so cool.
Absolutely.
And what happens if the players decide to open the box?
It's a black cat onyx statue.
And how do they free it, or if they decide to actually free it?
They won't know anything about it yet. And they're like, this is a black cat statue.
Yeah,
right.
It has some sentimental value to the princess or whatever.
That they will start investigating and say, screw this, delivering it as our contract says, and I want to start investigating more.
That would be kind of cool. I'd love to see what happens. I mean, breaking free the Sphinx and breaking the Sphinx out, that would be ultimately the best thing. The Sphinx is like a lawful good, creature that's being manipulated by this daughter of a pharaoh, or all these pharaohs who are trying to enslave this Sphinx.
Yeah. And we also need to have like a strong reason, a strong hook for them to keep on with the quest. Like strong hook to not do what Conan said. Strong hook to just go and deliver. What would that be? A money or something else?
Maybe at the start the boat actually gets destroyed by a bunch of sea lions, and the people there promise, like, look, we can't give you any money now, but like this is heading to the pharaoh's palace. Like this is, I'm sure he really wants this.
He will reward you well.
Yeah, or political power if you're doing like a social campaign.
And we could also do something kind of cool with that. Let's say, use it back to my example of the box with 3 locks. Let's say they give the players this box and say, here's one of the keys. The pharaohs have, or the pharaoh has another one of the keys, and some other person has, like the other key. So this box cannot be opened without the keys. And so the players are like, what the fuck is this? This is an elaborate box that has these 3 magical locks that hang on it, and they have one of the keys.
I love it because it puts a restriction on them opening it, but it also then emphasizes the Conan's thingy about whether they should do it or not, like whether they push on forward or not, like that psychological play. Do or do not. I love this.
In order to give it a bit more leverage to that, actually not doing it, because I mean, they will want to do it, right? They will want to open it. So in order to put a little bit more leverage, maybe telling them that it's a bad thing to open it. Do not, kind of like Pandora's box, like do not open it. And maybe it's not just the person giving them the contract telling them not to open it, but someone else that seems not
an NPC, right? An NPC who informs them about the box.
Yeah, maybe someone either they trust or someone that doesn't look like aligned with the pharaoh. But yeah.
Just a quick question. I think Egyptians have cut gods, and I think it's something that we might somehow factor into this. Maybe
there is a curse if you open the box before the receiver. Like if you open anything and mess with anything that is to be given to someone, it is considered like an unholy thing. Like it's a blasphemy, and you receive a curse or some sort. Like
Maybe.
Mhm.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Go on.
Maybe the person with the second key is part of is like the high priest of a cat temple, and so it's like, don't open this. And maybe the reason why you can't open the box is because if you open the box, the Sphinx sees you and says, "Oh, you're the person who captured me," and then the cats all attack.
Oh, I think that it doesn't matter. Like, I think that, just saying not to open the box is the cool part. The Sphinx just wants to get out. The Sphinx, there's no curse or anything like that. The people who want the Sphinx, they're just like, don't open the box, dickheads. You're cursed, if you will. There's no curse. They just want you to deliver the Sphinx. They need the Sphinx.
Guys, I'm gonna say that it's probably good for us to move on to the next part. I just don't want us to get hung up on the mechanics of keeping the box closed.
Of the box.
Yeah, we can always. I feel like once we have the rest of the adventure, we will just the solution will come to us more naturally.
Absolutely. Thank you for pointing it out. You are the guru. Alrighty.
So I think we have a bunch of awesome locations. If anybody at any point can think of another cool place for us to visit in Egypt type environment, please add it. Maybe take some inspiration from Indiana Jones. Maybe there's some kind of. I'm gonna add snakes to this. Snakes are always fun. Snake room.
I do love scorpions. Like, scorpions are really cool. Like, giant scorpions are quite cool. I don't know how to add them, especially since this is really about cats. It doesn't need to be about cats. It really could be like the Sphinx is calling all creatures to its aid.
Yeah, I think we get on that it's the Sphinx. I think that we all agree on that.
Okay,
in my mind, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
So do you want to say that it calls any kind of creature?
Yeah, but maybe like cats mostly, maybe for some lulls and some thematic. But when that is not enough, like the cats, the displacer beast, and so on, and then we go to the big things, the big guns, like the Hydra, I don't know, in the swamp or something. Like, release me.
Oh no,
Jesus!
Well, there's an Egyptian story of how the Egyptian goddess Isis kind of had 7 scorpion bodyguards, maybe something like that.
I like this, and they have like a task. They just go like a spec ops.
Actually, maybe its power grows as it gets closer to the pyramid, because maybe that's the place where he can be liberated. So the closer he gets, the stronger he is.
I like that a lot.
This is maybe going a bit silly, but what if at some point there is an NPC, like a bad guy, who actually has dogs?
Oh no!
He's a hunter with dogs.
And they need, they are the arch enemy of the cats. And do we want to bring dogs as well, or do we not?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I had an adventure about blink dogs chasing a displacer beast. And it was just a hilarious game.
If nothing else, I think it could be really fun comic relief. Imagine, what is this 3-headed dog called? Cerebrus or something? Imagine the Cerebrus runs up to you, but then as soon as it sees Sphinx, he just hides his tail and just squeals and just runs away, because the Sphinx is so intimidating. Or maybe there's a fun encounter with Cerebrus. That was also fun.
Well, the Egyptians have the god Set, right? Which kind of looks a little bit like a god. So maybe like a evil cult or something who's aligned with Set is trying to attack the Sphinx for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah. It could factor in somehow. I mean, it's not necessary, but yeah, if you have to deliver the Sphinx to defeat the gigantic megadog that threatens the kingdom, that would be another take on it. Anyway, I think it's good for us to move on to the important characters, and I feel like the biggest part we are missing right now is the reason why the princess or the pharaoh wants the Sphinx. So let's maybe discuss first of all what do they look like and why do they want the Sphinx specifically, and move on to the important characters section.
I think we said that, like, she either wants her cat back, to bring her back, cat back to the. No, we crossed that one. But we said that she wants to breed the Sphinx, right? She wants to have
the
like a
army,
lot of
yeah.
Sphinx.
I think I can answer that last part. At least I can give it a good shot. I mean, especially since we've definitely migrated this whole thing to an Egypt sort of feel. We might as well just stay there. Let's just say that this soul of the Sphinx that they're traveling with, this black onyx cat, or black onyx Sphinx. It needs to be reunited to this giant stone Sphinx. Like a real, like a big stone Sphinx it's been captured. Essentially, they're just trying to resurrect this Sphinx to control it. And so it is like one of those, like it is you're familiar with the Sphinx in Egypt. Imagine that thing, could actually animate, pick up, and be used. That's what these guys are trying to do. These pharaohs are trying to animate and reanimate the Sphinx.
I absolutely agree. And
Even-
if I might add, if you finished,
Yep. No, go on.
if I might add, the reason they do that is because they want to portray power for their kingdom, and to be like, well, now we have the Sphinx, now we're gonna conquer another kingdom or whatever. So it is a political gain for them, like something big.
So if
Yeah, I love it.
And while we're talking about it, if we want through the most of the adventure it to be just a statue instead of the living Sphinx, then maybe it contains the soul of the Sphinx. So the statue contains his soul that's trapped in it, and then once you reunite the soul with the body, it just comes alive.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
like like a figurine of wondrous power. I think they work in a similar way. As Flute said.
Cool.
I'm wondering if, please tell me if I'm changing topics or so, but I'm wondering about the motivation of the players to do all these things. If because we said at some point that this is it might be necromancer, evil witch, or evil princess or something. Like, I would like to know the position of the players, if they really want to do this because they believe in it, or is it because of the money? If they believe it's something better, it's for the good, or they don't care because they're mercenaries.
Maybe to expand on that, I absolutely agree. I think that player agency and their motivation here is important. Maybe we can play on the false information. So not only the false, to bring it back more, to be like the players believe, or whoever told them, that if they deliver the Sphinx, the box to the pharaoh, the good things will happen. The people will get healed. They will have the pharaoh will have power, and there will be blessings, and then it will be good stuff.
I don't think that the players even really know at the beginning. They're only starting to understand. First there's kittens that are clawing at their legs. Next things there are there are birds in the air that dive bomb them, and they're starting to understand that there's some weird shit. They were told, "Hey, get this box to the pharaoh, and here's one of the keys to the box with 3 locks. Do not open this box. It can't be opened without the other keys." And they're like, "It's most important that you get to the pharaoh." And so they're like, "Okay, we're doing this," but things are getting weird along the way, getting super weird, until of course the climax when they get it to the pharaoh, or if they make it to the pharaoh.
Yeah. So in order to answer Conan's question, we have to answer: do the players know what is in the box or no? And if we say, like you said, they don't know, so they only know it is some weird shit, but they will deliver the box and they will get money.
Yeah, it's some weird shit until it maybe gets so weird.
Until it becomes
Yeah, that's the cool part. Is it might get so weird that the players are like, "Hey, we got to figure out what the fuck are we carrying right now."
Yeah.
I think it can be just gradually escalating. So at first it can literally be a package that then attracts, as you guys are saying, so gradually it escalates. And by the end of the climax, they're just running towards this pyramid with a bunch of cats chasing them and a bunch of
Yeah, but what Conan is asking, I think, is will the player's motivation be strong enough to deliver it? Like, do we have a strong enough hook? Is that what you're worried about, Conan?
Yeah.
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 Will we have strong enough hook for them to just push forward when the things escalate, or they just drop it and be like, fuck it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe Sphinx could contact them and say that it wants to be liberated.
Yeah, and that would be a wild part of the near the climax when one of these animals, they're trying to figure out why are these animals attacking us, and one of these animals is a magical creature, and it says it's because you're carrying the soul of the Sphinx, and you need to make a choice. You either need to fight for us and free the Sphinx, or you fight against us.
Nice.
They're encountered by an owl or something like that that
Yes.
speaks to them and lets them know what it is they're carrying.
Yeah, the NPC that clarifies things. But then the next question is, if they decide to open the Sphinx and the box, what will then be the climax of the adventure? Because the other one is...
I think that what would be awesome is going back to something that Parker said, which is there's now this Pharaoh-S who is like she wants to raise the Sphinx. She has these seven
the
scorpions, and she marches after these players with these 7 scorpions to be like to go get the Sphinx or the soul of the Sphinx, and that is the climax. So you could have it either way. If they whatever way that they choose, you could either take the thing to the Pharaoh-S, or you could save the Sphinx yourself.
I think maybe we could also say that players deliver it to her pyramid, and then it becomes obvious that she has some kind of evil and cruel way of controlling the Sphinx, and that's when we realize that we actually have to fight her. Then one thing a couple of things can confuse me right now. First, if we are trying to deliver the Sphinx to the place where it's going to be resurrected, then there's no reason for animals to attack us. They would be trying to help us. Second, I already forgot. I will do it later. Anyway, we can think about. I would like us to talk about a couple more NPCs, fun characters we would like to meet, and then in literally the next section is where we will dive deeper into the plot and figure out all the details.
Well, we've mentioned having the 3 keys. So the Pharaoh has one. Us as the players have one. So we still need the second key. What if it's at some populated city, like a priestess or something? And then that also lets us go into the crowded city center.
I love that. But what if we build on someone's idea about the dogs, and then actually the hunter with the dogs has the key because he found the key that was lost?
That'd actually be pretty cool. Yeah.
By the priestess. He found it in the woods, and he lives in a populated area, not so populated, but populated enough. Maybe.
So is it that an additional objective is to also retrieve the key?
Maybe if they choose so. Maybe if they're like, fuck it, we're not gonna move forward until we open this box. Even with the wise owl, and I love this NPC, the wise owl. It's gonna be like, even if the wise owl says like, hey, there's a sphinx of a soul inside, they're like, okay, we're gonna open it, and then they have that. We're not gonna move forward until we open it. Then they have the side quest of the key, collecting the keys.
Well, they know that the Pharaoh has one of the keys.
Oh yeah, so they have to go to the end. But they will, yeah. But
still need
a second one.
Yeah.
What I like about this too is like where did the soul of the Sphinx come from? It came from another pharaoh, in a faraway land, and that's why these keys are all separate. Like so that no one person, can open this at any given time. And the Pharaoh-S, who has the 7, scorpion guards, she wants to open this thing and resurrect the Sphinx that protects her land. Maybe all of the Pharaoh kingdoms, they all have a sphinx that looks off. It's like this big, stone sculpture, and all of them could be resurrected at one time. That's just a little background story that doesn't affect us here, but I think that could be kind of like a cool thing about like these sphinxes are very powerful. They are they look like you have a living god on your side, which is very much what the pharaohs want. And maybe the pharaoh-ess is losing power, and so that's why she desperately needs a show of strength here. Because she's losing the will of the people. The people actually are even talking that she's not divine. She does not have the will of the gods behind her. And so she's like, fuck you guys. I will show you that I have the will of the gods behind me. And she's going to raise a god, a sphinx, to and parade it in front of the people. And that's kind of like the whole story here, is defeating this megalomaniacal pharaoh-ess who is wants to like show how powerful she is to her people.
You know what, guys? I cannot stop picturing an awesome climax of gigantic sphinx fighting gigantic Cerberus. So what if our Egyptian kingdom is either being attacked by a kingdom of like dog worshippers with Cerberus in charge, or maybe there's a creepy like this priestess. Maybe she is kind of like trying to compete with the pharaoh, and she managed to summon the Cerberus, and that's
nice.
That's why we need. I don't know. I don't have it fleshed out. I just picture gigantic sphinx fighting gigantic three-headed dog.
Put it just so you don't forget. Put it in an awesome climax, just so you don't forget, and so we don't forget about the scorpions. Put just the NPC like the scorpion task force leader, like a scorpion general, so we don't forget about that as well.
What did you call those, Parker? They had a name.
They were just called the 7 Scorpions, I believe.
Yeah, just let's write 7 Scorpions. We'll know who that is.
We know who it is.
Just plain badass.
And maybe I would like to expand on your idea and add a twist to it about the displacer beasts. Like there is a fine, cunning feline female displacer beast that goes with the characters and then puts a doubt in their minds, like help us. Maybe she's the one. Along with the owl, but maybe the owl is the good one, and the displacer beast female is the bad one, the cunning one, foxy.
I'm not sure what you're going with that. Like, what are they doing? What do they want to do?
Well, the wise owl. That's a good question. The wise owl wants to. We bring the wise owl to maybe give us information about the soul of the.
What are we carrying? You need to know what you're carrying.
Yeah.
And the reason why your days have been really bad.
Yeah, and the wise owl wants for the box to be delivered, and maybe the displacer beast wants to be destroyed. Like maybe she doesn't dig the.
I would think that the wise owl wants the box to be opened with all 3 keys, and the sphinx to be set free. If there is another creature, a creature like, let's say it's the pharaoh-ess's familiar, like it's a cat, or we're calling it a displacer beast, but let's say it's the pharaoh-ess's cunning familiar, and it's whispering constantly to be like, no, that thing needs to be delivered to.
That's what I was
to the pharaohs.
Thank you. That's what I was aiming, like duality of the choice. That's it.
One thing that I have a concern about is, do the players really actually have a reason to help the Sphinx not get imprisoned? Because the Sphinx has been making the players' lives like just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So
maybe not likable.
Yeah, I mean, the Sphinx just seems really unlikable to the players because like the players have nothing to do with it. But for like, I don't know how long the travel takes, but like cats attacking them, scorpions attacking them, birds dive bombing them.
Mhm.
What I'm saying
Yeah.
is that maybe we could make him sympathetic and likable, and then like innocent, who just wants to be free.
Yeah, maybe. I was just worried about it for a little bit because knowing some players, it's like, well, that sucks. You shouldn't have had birds attack us, and then just ship the Sphinx off.
No kidding. You mean they're bastards?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a serious and grounded concern.
Yeah, I think that they should have some real strong motivation to do what they promised or what they were out to do.
You know what, guys? I think the best thing we can do right now is to, like, we have brainstormed a whole bunch of amazing ideas. I feel like we have more than enough locations, we have enough characters, we have all of that, and all of that is awesome. And it's time to start bringing our story together and start narrowing down our options. Start selecting the stuff we like the most, and the best way to do that, I believe, is to try to settle on our climax. Like, we want to specifically picture what happens in the climax and what the players need to do in order to basically win the adventure, like specific thing they need to do. And also at the same time, it would be useful for us to get more specific and start settling on like the motivation for Sphinx to exist.
So you mean if we resolve the climax, then we're gonna have the exciting hook? What makes them care?
Yeah, I feel like once it's like starting with the end in mind, you know. Once we know where we are going, everything will usually fall into place.
So then the climax can be like the players believing that the Sphinx will, as we discussed, will regain the power of the country, the power of the kingdom. So the players then have a hook that they want to have the kingdom, assuming that they're playing good guys. They want to help the kingdom get the power.
Yeah, something like that.
Princess starts riding the Sphinx into the battle. Okay.
I was thinking of something a little different. You know, it actually works really well considering there are 3 keys, and so there are 3 powers that be. The powers are the players who have one of the keys, the Pharaohess who has another one of the keys, and then let's say there is this third being. He is the lost pharaoh. He's a follower of like Set, a dog worshiper. He owns the onyx statue that has the 3-headed dog, meaning he could call the 3-headed dog god the Cerberus. He was a pharaoh at one time, and he knows, exactly what the Pharaohess is trying to do, and he knows that he's like, it's wrong to do this. And so either way, you could have Lumen's climax at the end. Like if they say, fuck it, this Sphinx, has treated us poorly, we're going to give the Sphinx to the Pharaohess and let her raise the Sphinx. Then you could actually have the dog prophet, or the dog pharaoh. He summons Cerberus. And, so you have the Sphinx versus Cerberus. You could do it that way, which would be that could be really wild. If I would do it that way, I would get rid of the wise owl, and I would make the dog pharaoh guy this kind of wandering pharaoh.
The bad one.
The guy who gives the information, because he knows. He knows what's in the box. He knows that the soul of a Sphinx is captured there. And he knows damn well, because he's the lost pharaoh. He is a guy who's like, I gave away my kingdom because this shit is evil. But he still has a god on his side. He still is, ordained by gods. And if he needs to, he can call Cerberus, his version of the Sphinx, of his lost kingdom. So maybe all of these Egyptian kingdoms, they all have a god that represents their kingdom. And, this one is, the Pharaohess has the Sphinx, but the lost pharaoh, he had Cerberus. And there is a stone statue somewhere of a 3-headed dog.
I really want to build on top of this, and I feel like I see an interesting idea. We could reverse it. So
Sure.
picture, instead of delivering the statue to the pharaohs, instead we would deliver it to the like underdog pharaoh. So picture, okay, so this kingdom, it's actually terrible. The pharaoh is cruel. There's a bunch of slavery, and he rules through fear because he has this gigantic dog, Cerberus. I can never pronounce it, Cerberus, and she has it. It's basically lying at her lap in her pyramid. That's how she holds her power. And you can see as you travel through the adventure, you see everybody is miserable. There are a bunch of slaves. Nobody is living well, and that's your motivation as a player to deliver this statue to this to somebody who wants to seize her power, who wants to challenge her. And once you deliver it, and that like you would deliver the statue not to the pyramid. It would you would deliver it somewhere else, maybe to the temple of the priestess or something like that, or maybe to just wandering vagabond, whatever, like the person Flute has described. So you deliver the statue, and he helps you to sneak through this hostile kingdom, get to the Sphinx, which you then resurrect. So you have awesome Sphinx resurrection scene, and now not the princess resurrects it, you are resurrecting it, and now you are riding the Sphinx to basically go to the pyramid and usurp the power and fight the Cerberus with the pharaohs.
Yeah, excellent, great, perfect, Lumen.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
I like this idea because it comes really with what I suggested in the very beginning about, revolution by playing with the enemy and high cost. Because if we go and agree that they have to go through the bazaar or the market and like innocent people will die basically because you are bringing this statue, then yeah, it plays.
Absolutely, and we can even play with it a bit, whether the players know where exactly the good priest is or not. Like, do they have the information, or maybe we can also play on the false information. Like they know where he is, but that's a false information. He's not there, and they need to find him or her, whatever.
Right,
the good one.
You know what I picture?
Yeah, I think it's.
I immediately imagine the Emperor's New Groove. so the pharaohs is this Yzma. Have you guys seen this cartoon?
No.
Yeah.
All right. Never mind. Sorry for interrupting. Continue speaking. I'm going to pass a few pictures.
No, it's alright. That was my point. I like the idea, and now we can play if they know or do not know where that good guy is, the good pharaoh with Cerberus.
My vision of this the good pharaoh, he's like the pharaoh who purposely stepped down, and he just wanders the desert, and he actually has a mask of like a dog, like he's got a pharaoh dog mask, and he's got these tattered robes, and he's walking through the sands, and he looks like a living prophet, and he is.
Absolutely dig it. I absolutely dig it. And maybe, sorry, continue.
Oh, that's my vision of the lost pharaoh.
And I just imagine while you were speaking that I just imagine all of that, and maybe that the final encounter when they give the statue to him is an underground pyramid. Like it's in the middle of the desert. They have to find the entrance and then fight their way through the entrance and the protection to get to him, or something like that.
Well, it is a one shot, so we're only going to have about 5 encounters, really.
Yeah. You're right.
I get what you're saying. There needs to be
maybe just I forgot. This is an epic story, man, and I imagine a campaign. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely could be a campaign because it is a story of revolution. You have a badass pharaohess who uses Cerberus to enforce her will on people. You have slaves, you've definitely got a villain, and then you have a really interesting third party neutral guy who is like I understand where pharaohs went wrong, and I forego it. I gave it up. It was like this was all wrong, and now I just wander the desert, and I know exactly what's happening. But what's also cool about him is he has the second key. And so, like, we're getting very close to being able, to open this to this box.
Yes,
We need to open the box, and then we need
the third
to
key.
resurrect the fairy.
Yeah,
The Sphinx.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
you know I just want to say that maybe he didn't give up his kingdom. I imagine he was kind of the situation you see in Lion King, where these pharaohs, she betrayed him and usurped the power, so that we are also restoring the rightful ruler of the kingdom back to the throne, and we also have the climax.
Oh yeah,
in Lion
much
King.
better. Yeah, much better. Yeah, he used to be the pharaoh who, was before the pharaohess, and then she came in, usurped him with the power of Cerberus, and
yes, absolutely.
And he lost his power of his good Sphinx, and now it's been returned to him, and and that's kind of the climax of this whole game.
Yes, and you go and I absolutely love this.
We simplified. We took away some possibilities, which is good. I'm not saying it's bad. Just that the dog part, do we keep it? Because now it looks like this old pharaoh is more Sphinx guy than dog guy.
I like no, absolutely. Yes, what I want to clarify is that we reversed it. So the pharaohess, the one who is in power, she is the dog person.
Right. She's the dog. She has the Cerberus.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Simba Prince, he has the key to the resurrecting Sphinx.
Yeah, imagine this visual. So this is a scene. There's blowing sand, and you see in the sand cat running around like cats in the fucking desert. And you're like, what is going on? And then there's this guy in this robe, blowing in the sand, and he's wearing a golden mask that is of Bast, like this god of the cats.
Yes.
And he shows up and takes his mask off. He's an old, weathered guy, but he is the previous pharaoh.
Yes.
And cats are they worship him. They're all around him. They sit in his lap when he talks.
This is awesome. This is awesome.
He's definitely some kind of prophet.
Yeah, and maybe he's blind. He has white eyes.
Yeah, until we come up with a name, I vote that we call him the Cat Jesus.
You can't say that.
Yeah, you can't say that because a lot of people be like, "Why not Allah?" So yeah, but he's a cat god that he is. And another just a safety concern that is not a really concern in my games, but because this is gonna be published in hopefully for the people to play in. Some people maybe do not act good with slaves and everything. So maybe give the option about DMs to depict the bad situations.
Yeah, for sure. Personally, in my game, I would probably have slavery because it's just obvious.
Yeah, me as well. But just
clarifies who the baddies are,
Yeah.
But what I imagine again is just how everything became horrible after the bad guy from Lion's King became evil in charge. So for more PG-13 version, we just have really unhappy, poor kingdom.
Absolutely.
And this rich pharaohs, she just lords over everybody, and it's just poverty.
Yeah. So tell me, do we need to give them the names now, or the two big figures, the lost pharaoh, the old one, and the pharaohess?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty bad at names, so if anybody has good ideas for names, you can add them. Also, I think
right now the lost pharaoh and the pharaohess totally works. We probably don't need to get hung up on their exact
names. Yeah.
Because
right.
we know who they are.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
nice.
So let's go to the developing the plot then. What we have, I think we have the climax. So what we are doing, I think we have midpoint, and I think at midpoint we have resurrected the Sphinx, unless somebody has better ideas.
No. I think that resurrecting the Sphinx happens after we collect all the 3 keys, right? So it happens after the climax.
No.
Well, I mean, there are some points that need to happen. First, we need to get the box. Second, we need to understand that the box is not what we thought it was.
Yeah.
Third, we need to introduce the lost pharaoh and explain to us what the box is. He needs to say, "You have 1 key, I have 1 key. The pharaoh has another key. Let's get that key." That's another scene. Get the key, and that'll be like fighting those 7 scorpions and shit like that.
Or
and then
sorry
and
to
then
interrupt. I just want to say Indiana Jones Egyptian heist mission. It's probably not a one shot, but in the campaign, can you imagine? You have to sneak into her into her pyramid,
Absolutely.
combined with snakes and traps and all of that. It's a heist.
Yeah, and I will absolutely put this. I have in my setting. I have a desert, and I will absolutely use this because this is wonderful.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you'll be able to use this.
Yes, sorry. Can you continue what you were saying because I interrupted you?
Sure. Once you get the third key, you resurrect the Sphinx, and then it's the Lost Pharaoh and players against the Pharaohess and Cerberus.
And her dog.
Yeah, so it's like 2 gods fighting, and then like the
You're used to help out.
Yeah, and you get to see you get the fight that Lumen wants, which is on top of a fucking pyramid. There is a Sphinx and Cerberus fighting it out,
and there is a sky twirling and there is a sunlight and the bad clouds, and it's fucking holy.
Yeah, and it's the battle for who takes over this kingdom.
Yes, I love this. Alrighty, so exciting adventure hook. Now we have the climax, we have the midpoint, we have the characters. Exciting adventure hook. What are players told? They're told to find the guy. They're told to what? To find the old one, or no? They're told at the first.
Maybe just deliver it to the princess.
To deliver the box to the princess. That is actually a great one because she doesn't want the Sphinx and she doesn't want the Lost Pharaoh, to have any of this. And she probably doesn't know that the Lost Pharaoh is actively plotting against her, but she wants to hold this artifact just like all the other pharaohs do. And that would be a really simple way to start, but then you're like, something's wrong with this box. We are, we're getting plagued by animals, shit is happening. And then, of course, you run into the Lost Pharaoh, and he explains what's happening and what that box is. The players change their mind, maybe. Hopefully they change their mind and say, okay, you know what? We need to get that third key and open this box and then raise the Sphinx to free the kingdom of this tyranny.
Something I would just like to also add is maybe the animal attacks stop once they meet the kind of underdog pharaoh.
Yeah,
that kind of makes the players a little bit more happy about helping. It's like, well, we're not getting attacked anymore, so like.
Oh yeah, the animals are actually leading the players to the pharaoh. They're pushing the players off course. They're trying to get to the pharaoh-ess, but really these animal attacks they lead them to the Lost Pharaoh. And he clearly has animals that are answering to him. He's got cats all over him.
Yeah.
He's got that mask. Yeah.
And if they don't get the clue, if the players are like, what the fuck? We have to have an NPC that a little bit more directly points them to the old pharaoh.
Right. I think that would be animals that are really doing it. Chasing animals.
Animals and then the owl that you said. I really like that idea. To have it as a backup to, hey, you have to go there.
Yeah, isn't there an eagle that is also a god? An
eagle with a snake who kills the snake.
There is a solution I picture like a cat Patronus.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
There's Umbridge coming to us.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome though. I think another cool magic item that would be fun to give the players is that the Lost Pharaoh gives them his pharaoh mask, and his pharaoh mask can essentially control animals in a way. So you can jump into the brains of animals and see through their eyes and shit like that.
And he really doesn't need it anymore. He outgrown that item.
Right. Well, I mean, he wants the players. He wants them to succeed, but he just gives them this cat mask, and you know, it would just be awesome. It's an awesome power to jump into the brains of animals. I use that in my own games where your familiars, you can actually speak through your familiars if you want. It's kind of a cool. It's just a fun thing to have.
Yeah.
But-
And it creates bonds, a deeper bond between the players and the pharaoh. And then now they're like, we're gonna die for this guy.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I love it.
Back to Exciting Adventure Hook. I want to say that usually Exciting Adventure Hook, one of the obvious ways to make it more interesting is first of all introduce mystery, which we have. Second of all, throw players into the action. And I'm thinking that maybe instead of just kind of signing up for delivering the box like a delivery service, maybe there is some action inside. I've been thinking, does the princess have some kind of minions that will try to stop players? And maybe the ship with the box, maybe it's not just delivering it to the port. Maybe it's being either sunk or attacked, or somebody is after the box, and players happen upon the box when they defend it from clearly bad guys.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of like an hour back, we mentioned kind of having sea lions sort of attacking the boat.
The reason why that doesn't totally work is because there's some information that comes along with the box.
Right.
First off, it's a box with 3 locks. That's a mystery.
Yeah.
Secondly, there is a key, and they're like, oh, don't worry about it. The Pharaohess has the keys. You have one of the keys. The Pharaohess has the keys. Don't worry about it. But we'll learn later that it's like, actually, she has only one of the keys. Now we have 2. And we just need to get the last. So they definitely have a little information about the box. And they also have to learn that, hey, don't open this thing. It's cursed.
Right.
It's not cursed at all, but yes.
Absolutely, but I also agree with Lumen about like starting with the action. So maybe we have, as you said, Flute, we have all that information, and they were like, oh yeah, peaceful, okay. So we have the mystery, we have the information, we know what we're gonna do, and now you see, boom, and then we drop them into the action, like a small combat to start and to get them familiar or whatever, or just narrate the action and that they are offshore with the ship sunken.
I mean, you're totally right. We could do it that way and just say, hey, you guys are delivering. Like, just say, in the beginning, you are delivering this box. It has 3 locks. Do not open it. You're supposed to take it to the Pharaohs. Like, that's the stuff that you know. But then immediately your ship is hit by these sea lions or something like that.
Yes,
and the ship gets broken and you get washed up onto the shore of the Nile. And you're like, what the fuck just happened there? And, you know, our game begins.
Yeah.
That makes sense also because, I mean, why would the Pharaoh, the princess or whatever, not like deliver it directly to their palace? Like, it would be the easiest, right? Like, why do these people have to carry it? But we just gave the reason why they have to go through all these super dangerous environments.
What I was picturing is that maybe instead of players delivering the box as they are arriving on the ship, I was picturing they are already somewhere hanging out somewhere around the port. The ship arrives because this cat Jesus he asked his allies overseas to deliver this statue, right? And we have a Pharaohess who is really... She's probably sending some minions, and I want them to be like really obvious bad guys. I imagine a bunch of people, maybe with the dog masks. You know, this Egyptian classical dog mask. They are black. They're in black uniform, and they are just slaughtering clearly good guys who are delivering this box.
So
players kind of randomly happen upon this box when they see a bunch of dog people slaughtering a bunch of good cat people.
Hey, Lumen, imagine how cool this mask looks. So imagine these guys that you're talking about. So the front part of their mask is a dog, but the left part of their face is a dog, and the right part of their face is a dog. So it looks like from all 3 directions, there's like a dog snarling at you.
Nice.
Meaning that they're the symbol of the 3-headed dog. So like their helmets look so badass.
Yes.
I just I think it's hard to, if that is the case, I think it's hard to give them the quest, enough information in the quest to deliver this box, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think that the better way to go, even though I love that idea,
We can have it later.
it could, but I think the better way to go is you have all this information. You're like, okay, I'm delivering a box. We got a key with it. No problem. You're on a boat. Everything
they
starts
come.
great, and then all of a sudden, boom! Like the boat gets struck by these animals in the river, and you're like, "What's going on?" So you're attacked, and then birds dive bomb, and they actually pull the chest into the river itself. Like they're trying to save, they're trying to save the Sphinx. The birds are, and all of the animals are, and so they are trying to get to the box. So the players must be like, "Oh shit! The box is now in the river. The boat is sinking.
We have to do something.
Yeah, we get washed up essentially on the shores of the Nile, and that's where this game begins. They're like, hey, we got to get to this box to the Faroes, but as they start, they immediately start, getting hit by animals, and they start to realize that they're not getting hit exactly. They're getting led by these animals into the desert. And then, of course, they'll run into the Pharaoh, the Lost Pharaoh, and the Lost Pharaoh will give them information. It then takes us to the compound of the Pharaohess. We get the key, we raise the Sphinx, and the climax. Done.
Yeah.
Nice.
Did that all make sense? Because that is a one shot.
Yeah.
That was 6.
Made perfectly sense. Perfect sense.
That's 6 encounters that we have. In this, and that is a good number for a one shot.
Absolutely.
Fleet, could you add them to the list of challenges?
Sure. I so want to put in those guys with a dog mask. I think that's probably in the get the key. Getting the key is really fighting these horrible soldiers who, they murder the people. They're just totally mean to them.
Save them, and they wait for the climax.
Well, I mean, I think the climax is really going to be the Pharaohess.
Yeah, well, the midpoint. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. The midpoint. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Save them, like the description when you now have hatred, seeing what they do to the people in this kingdom, seeing them like murder and whatever, enslave, and however gruesome you want to go with the descriptions, or what Lumen said.
I think we're going to have to change the 7 scorpions into the 7 dogs.
Yeah, absolutely.
But but still, they're going to be badass, like these mastiff things that will rip you to shreds. But still, I mean, I love that when Lumen switched it to like she's the Cerebus god. That just makes so much more sense.
That was like a crack in the neck that aligned the whole spine. Like,
yes, it really did.
Super simple, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll write down those 6 points, Lumen.
Yep, thanks.
I haven't been typing much because I've got terrible lag, but I should be able to do it.
Oh, if it's a lag, we can type it together. Like it's not a problem. So we have.
Yeah, that would be great because I don't even actually have many things in my I have like Ziggurat is one of the last things that's written in my window.
Okay, so we start with getting the box. We end with.
Oh, I can just write it right in Discord. Duh.
We start with getting the box. At the end, we have riding Sphinx Rebellion to storm the pyramid. In the middle, we have
animals and getting to the Pharaoh.
Yep.
This is awesome, guys. We have to do this like often.
I'm glad you like it. We definitely need a fun scene about resurrecting the Sphinx.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe it's combined with the getting the key from Pharaohs. So, for example, I imagine maybe it could start out as a heist, like a simplified one for one shot, and then as we are getting away with the key, we are being chased by her goons, by maybe these dog people, and now ooh, yes! So as we are resurrecting the Sphinx, we are at the same time fighting of the dog people. So it takes time to resurrect Sphinx, and we have an awesome scene where we are being surrounded by dogs, and we are just have to hold on until Sphinx.
Until the good pharaoh resurrects the Sphinx. The Sphinx, we have to hold on the 7 dogs. The 7. What Parker said. The 7 dogs.
Yep. Okay, so we have that. Heist is probably too complicated for one shot, I'm still thinking. And animal attacks. If anybody wants to flesh out the animal attacks a little bit more, be more specific about like what exactly happens.
Maybe cats and animals are stealing their supplies and carrying them off towards the direction. So as the players start chasing them for their supplies,
Ooh,
they
that's
kind of get led into cat cheeses.
It doesn't need to be like a big battle. It's just like a small 10 minutes encounters or something. Like, you know, they get attacked and they something is stolen. Nothing big that will take the time.
You know, I like the ideas that animals still don't realize that we are on their side. So they are attacking us because they think we are the baddies. And basically, this good pharaoh, he sends his animals because he knows that the ship has been attacked, that maybe the box in the bad guy's hands. So he's like, okay, my creatures, go get me the box. So they are attacking us because they don't understand it yet. And once we get to him, for some reason we still need to figure it out. But yeah, once we get to him, we can talk to him and realize that okay, he's a good guy.
They're also not exactly attacking the players. They're just attacking them because they have the box. But imagine, you know, like jackals. Like jackals will come, and as soon as they drop the box, they're not going after the players. Yeah. They're going after the box and like grabbing it in their teeth and trying to pull it away into the desert. So it seems like they're attacking the players, but they're interested in the box only.
Yeah.
What about in the beginning on the boat? It's the players plus a few guards, few badass guards with the masks and all that, and then the animal or the cats attack the boat, and you know those badass guards are dead, and the players think that they are being attacked, and they fight together with the guards, and it isn't until they survive and they are stranded that the animals try to start communicating somehow with them. But you know the communication is not clear because they are animals. So there could be that moment where like I don't know if they are going to attack us or if they are going to lead us somewhere.
Yeah, and that way, absolutely genius. And that way we introduce the animals that are attacking the guards, and players are like, what the fuck? But then later they during the adventure they realize, oh, that's why that happened.
Yep. I think it's great. I love putting those guards on the ship as well. Because they're with the players. The players are like, oh yeah, these guys are on our side, but no, they're not.
yeah. They're here to like help the players escort the thingy.
Yeah, well done. I mean, I think that I wrote it in the brainstorm text chat. That's pretty much all the points. I think that any one of those, if we want to like flesh it out, I mean, agree with me or just tell me if that's what you think the whole plot of this story is.
Personally, I would like to. I would really like to revisit the idea about players not knowing the info in the beginning and not having the box. I really like the idea of them just discovering this box when they see it being attacked by the dog people. So I prefer it because first of all we have a lot more mystery. So they aren't they. I like the idea of them not being just couriers, but they kind of like they are in Egypt for other reasons, and then they see this. There's clearly bad guys attacking clearly good guys and maybe slaughtering them, and then they see the box. It does give us a challenge of introducing them the idea to the idea of delivering the box. But maybe we could somehow convince players that it is extremely valuable, and now they're being chased by the dog people, and then they're kind of being driven by it.
We can totally do that, Lumen. In fact, imagine this scene. So we start in the market there's a market on the edge of the Nile, and there are 2 jackals that are running away with the box. That's how it starts. And then there's these guards.
The chase scene.
Who are just like slaughtering people there, and they slaughter the jackals because they desperately, or they're trying to get to the jackals. The jackals are wounded. They've been hit by by these guards, and there's animals that are trying to get this box away. Of course, there's nothing stopping the players from, once they get the box, being like, "Hey, you guys lost your box."
Yeah, I love this so much more. I love the idea that, first of all, obviously, if you see a bunch of guys killing animals, you are not going to be probably on their side, I would imagine. I also love that we start with the action. We start with players witnessing injustice. We have much more mystery rather than them just being couriers.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
I mean, it's
we
gonna
just
it'll
lost
be
the
super. Go ahead.
the
Sorry.
problem. You shouldn't open the box part.
I mean, they can't open the box because they don't have the keys. Maybe box has some kind of runes or inscription on them, like that's what actually go into leads. So we have one last section left, leads. So basically, this idea is that usually it never hurts to turn our adventure into a bit of a mystery and to hide a bunch of information for players and reveal it through clues. So one of the clues we might have is that there are some kind of symbols on the box that kind of vaguely suggest what we want, but not exactly.
Like the clues need then to vaguely say that it has to be delivered to the princess, to give them the motion, the direction.
Yeah.
Well, I think that I had a poem somewhere when I originally did the box with 3 locks. There's a poem about the box, and we could just say essentially that, like, there is a poem written on the box about that there are 3 locks and there are 3 keys with 3 pharaohs, and like 3 locks, 3 keys, 3 pharaohs. When they encounter this jackal, one of the jackals has this jade key in its mouth. It actually grabbed the key and ran with it. The other jackals were, who are dying, they are pulling the box itself. So they're like, hey, we've got a key that fits into one of these locks, but we can't open this box. And this box will not open, no matter how much we, hit on it or whatever. It's, maybe the box is magical. It needs to be opened with the 3 locks. And that's all we need to say. As the DM, you could just be like, this box cannot be opened without these locks.
Yeah, I agree. But since it's a one shot, and sometimes players they tend to meander too much if they don't know what they need to do. Maybe we can have a safety, like a trigger, that there is a poem that says all of that, but then something that indicates that if they cannot figure that or like you have a safety trigger to lead them towards the princess, like it needs to be delivered there, and they're like, okay.
Yeah. Just to clarify, our goal is to deliver it not to the princess, because we are clearly displaying that princess is evil. So we clearly display that. Okay, so these guards, they are the pharaoh's lady guards. So everything.
So we are not keeping the mystery of that delivering to the princess. Okay.
I mean, I guess I guess we could, but as far as clarity is concerned, I just want to say that everything dog themed is the evil pharaoh, and everything is cat themed is
Okay.
Jesus, cat Jesus, and I think
Gotcha.
yeah. And if our goal is to somehow lead the players to the good guy, then I agree that it might be a bit challenging and confusing for players. One option is that we have animals, so we use animals. I really love somebody suggested the idea that this adorable little. I imagine it's not going to be. Instead of jackal, we want something cat themed. So this adorable little kitten with some just drops a key onto your lap as it dies, so you know that it is important, and you know that it's animal. It is a animal with a purpose, so there's more mystery. And then we somehow use these animals to guide them, maybe like into the desert to the guy where he's hiding.
I think that like if you clearly want to show who's the bad guys and who are the good guys, you can't see my quotes with my fingers, but the bad guys are clearly the guys wearing the dog masks with the 3 dog mask sides, because maybe it's not jackals who are carrying away the box, but it's actually cats.
Yeah.
Like a pack of cats.
Yep.
Are trying who've got this heist. One of these cats actually has the key in its mouth, and it is leading these other cats. And these butchers are actually killing the cats. And so you're like, holy shit! These guys. The game begins with these guys butchering cats, and people are just going to be like, we fucking hate those guys. But of course, we still need the players to know they're like, if they get the box, they can't just turn around and give it, over to the, over
or whatever.
Yeah, over to the wolf or the dog guys. They need to know that they were like, hey, we need to deliver this. They could look right on the box, and the box just says flat out, in hieroglyphics, this is the box with 3 locks. There are 3 keys, and there are 3 pharaohs, and they could be like, okay, let's get this to the pharaoh, because there is obviously a pharaoh who runs this town. Now, she is the bad pharaoh, but that doesn't matter, because as soon as they start to move the box, the animals start to give them signs. They lead them into the desert, and we meet the
guy
lost
in the middle.
pharaoh.
The middle ground.
I mean, the easiest. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Just that I personally like more the shipwreck part, because like this, I mean, the first scene is some guards are butchering some cats. The players might be like, okay, it's none of my business, right? Unless maybe it's their cats.
Maybe.
Like, what's the hook, right? Like, why would they care about that?
You give each player a familiar cat.
And then immediately kill it.
And then you have the strongest drive ever.
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally agree with Conan. Like the stronger cook is actually the boat, because you understand what you're doing. There's a very clear objective here, but the neater scene is the marketplace butchery of cat.
Maybe, but I love this scene. It is so cinematic. The scene and the wind that flatters all the tents and everything. Maybe we can save the scene that you described with the jackals and cats for depiction of the market and depiction of the state of the country. Well, the state the country is in.
Yeah, I mean that would be definitely cool, in the opening credits. But that would be up to the DM, of course, to kind of narrate that. But let's just figure out where we want to start this thing. It's either on a boat on the Nile or in the marketplace. It's actually the place is not important, but it's do the players start with the information, or do they not? That's the difference between these two. I think that the players kind of need to start with the information, even though I think that's more boring as well.
Yeah. Just because it's a one shot, I think they have to know from the beginning, or very, very quickly, very near the beginning, what is the task. If it was like a mini campaign or a mini adventure of 5 sessions, then you can have the leisure of this, just the first session being them finding the box and figuring out what does it mean.
I don't think it's boring because, I mean, one thing is the task that was given to them, and the other thing is actually what's going on and what they decide to do themselves, right?
Yeah,
I don't think it's
but then
boring.
are they delivering the box to the evil princess, or are they delivering the box to the good guy? Because if they are initially set out to deliver the box to the evil princess, then we have to go through the whole twist. Okay, so you delivered the box to the pyramid, and she goes like, oh, like you have to communicate that she is being evil, right, at some point. And
Well, no, I mean, what's supposed to happen is that you're like, yeah, I'm delivering the box to the evil pharaoh, but you get lost, and along the way, you learn what you're delivering. That's the catch. Now, it's if the players say, well, we're still delivering it, then we're in a bit of a conundrum, and we should probably solve that. If the players say, man, fuck you, Lost Pharaoh, like you you lose here.
Yeah, you see, that's another reason why I'm still waiting for the market scene, because like I feel like this path is more difficult, because resolving the twist with the Pharaoh being evil, like I feel like it's more complicated than, okay, so you are hanging out in the, I don't know, Egyptian tavern, to keep it simple. You're hanging out in the Egyptian tower, a bunch of cats run in, and they bring, like they carry the box either to you, or they're just trying to run away from something. They are being slaughtered. Players pick up the box, somehow guide them to pick up the box, and then these jackal guys. The reason players cannot give the box to them is that these guys are not in the mood for talking. So they see you hold the box, they try to murder you. That way, we immediately know who is the bad guy and who to avoid.
Yeah, you know what? I think Mike's right, because like then we won't fall into that actually, like, let's say the players are tasked with like delivering this to the princess. There's going to be players that are like, we're delivering this box to the princess because that's our objective, even though the objective changed. They don't know that the objective changed.
But they will know it. They will know it through the middle of the campaign of the adventure.
But players, you don't know the players who play it. They might actually be like, no, we were tasked in the beginning. They might not be that clever.
Right. Didn't we say that we have the owl or the
owl that says like, hey, this is the safety trigger that nudges them toward the Lost Pharaoh.
Yeah, he's basically telling them, you know what you are doing. You are doing this, and it will be really bad for your people. Like for not the pharaohs, of course, but for your people.
But the thing is that there'll be players that'll be like, yeah, okay, that's fine. But in Mike's version, they actually, since they didn't have the mission to begin with, like the objective, in Mike's mission, they would be coerced into saying, hey, we know what's in this box now. This box is a little less mysterious because we know that it's got the soul of a sphinx in it now, and the evil pharaohess is trying to use it. I actually I think Mike, I think that's the better way to go.
I mean, we don't even have to remove the mystery, because what you know is that, like in most action movies, in Hollywood action movie, you have this priceless MacGuffin, and you know that the bad guys are after it. All you have to know in order to start the adventure is to know that, okay, bad guys are chasing it, they are chasing you, and they want to kill you because you have this valuable item.
And you lose the restriction of, okay, but for example, let's say we have a paladin or whatever system they're playing, and like, I will stick to my word, and then you lose the restriction of having the mission, so they don't have to stick to the word.
Yes, which is good, because
I agree. I'm contemplating.
Because that's what Mike convinced me there, because that's exactly what would happen, because they don't know that the princess is evil. They've just, they've seen evidence of it, but that they don't really we don't know that she's evil, and they may not even be thinking that far. So that, if that happens, then you would get a paladin who's like, no, we're completing our objective, and Lost Pharaoh doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yes, and on the the market scene, then we have let's say a paladin who finds it and be like, okay, now I have to be good to the box. I have to, yeah. I agree.
And the thing is there's a poem on the box. They know that there's 3 locks, there's 3 pharaohs, and there's 3 keys. And they're like, okay, we've got one of these keys. And then they run into the Lost Pharaoh, who has another one of the keys. He is an Ulf Pharaoh, and he explains the whole story to you. So I think that the marketplace with the attack with the cats, that's the best way to start it.
Oh, Jimbo needs to leave. All right.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, but I think at this point we have basically solved it. I feel like I'm really happy with this session. I think it went really, really well.
I do too.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think so. Basically, yeah.
It is awesome. It is awesome. So how do we convert it in one PDF? Does one person do it, or do we do it together, or?
Yeah, we are still kind of sorting this out. So one idea is that everybody picks a couple of scenes and writes them. Sometimes if volunteers to write the whole thing. Sometimes somebody else. So if anybody here is really excited to volunteer to write the whole thing, it would be fun. We can.
Can I make a quick suggestion?
Yeah.
So how much time does everyone have?
Right now or in general?
Right now. What I'm getting at is that, so we have Mr. P with us, who's actually, he's very, very excellent how these have worked in the past is we sum up the entire game and just kind of pitch it to him.
And then he writes it.
Well, he comments on it and sees, like what he thinks of it, because he hasn't heard the whole thing. So it's been really helpful for us in the past to have one of us take the entire adventure and just kind of present it to him. I think that we're ready to do that if we want, but I needed to know like how much time. If you guys want to leave right now, we wouldn't have time.
No, I can hang out like maybe 20 minutes, half an hour more.
Yeah, that's plenty. So Mr. P is excellent at this. So anyone?
What about you, Conan?
Yeah, I'm a bit tired actually, and I already saw. I mean, we are just summarizing, right? No.
Yeah, we're just summarizing the whole from the beginning to the end.
Okay. Yeah, if I can stay 10 minutes more. Yeah.
Sure. Do you want me to sum it up? Do you want Mike to sum it up? Do you want who would like to give an outline?
I would prefer
you can do it, but can you give me like 3 minutes? I just have to go to the bathroom, and I don't want to miss it.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
We'll
back.
take a break until he gets back.
All right.
Mr. P, you're on. It's actually I don't mean to put pressure on you. I mean to just say that it's always useful for us to sum up the whole game. Like, it doesn't actually crystallize until we do this outline, and when we do, it just has always been like, yeah, that's the story. So you've always joined us at the right time, I think.
Yeah, definitely don't feel the pressure to come up with something brilliant. It's just, yeah, it sounds good. Also, I would prefer it if you'd summarize it, because you are excellent at this.
Sure, I'll wait until Nico gets back, and then we're good to go. This is a good one. I really like this game. I also liked starting with the objective. Even though, we definitely meandered through the objective, but it's still like, that was a fun way to start it. I wish that you had seen that, Mr. P. We actually started with like, what is the game first, and then we built around it. So we actually started with, we're going to be moving what was our thing? It's in bold. It's we're going to journey through a hazardous area, escorting something with false information. That's how we started this game. It's kind of a unusual, but I thought it worked well. How did you guys like it?
Yeah, good. In the beginning, the thing is, we didn't even have the genre for the story, so it could have been anything. That didn't
I think
constrain it at all.
when Mike added the Egyptian thing, that really just became crystal clear to me. Like
Right.
it made this setting awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this idea of starting with the goal. It doesn't mean that we always have to do this, because I think starting with exciting premise is one way. This is just so different, and I would like us to do it a bunch more times, because I feel like it's helpful, and it's like really interesting approach of starting abstract and then getting more concrete, rather than starting with a concrete idea and building more on top of it. Also, I would like us one of these days to try a third approach, which is starting with the antagonist, which would probably be something similar with what we're doing today, except we would start, rather than with the player's goal, we would start with the antagonist's goal. And we would try to figure out a way for players to prevent them from accomplishing it. I think that would be like the third way to create. And once we have three approaches, and the three approaches I imagine they would work, we would have three different ways to create adventure ideas, and it would like multiply the possible ideas by 1,000.
Well, this one I wouldn't have thought of it doing it
Back,
this
by the
way,
way.
but it worked really well. All right, great. Nico is back, so I will do a quick summary for Mr. P. Well, for everybody. So this is what we have. We have a kingdom that is. This is a pharaoh setting, so an Egyptian type setting. And there is, of course, there's like the Nile River and shit like that. And this kingdom is ruled by a pharaohess. Her symbol is the three-headed dog. Her men wear this helmet that has a dog mask in the front, but there's also a dog to the left and right. They're definitely the bad guys. They rule with tyranny. The game begins with the players are at a market next to the River Nile, and they're delivering, like this is a, fruit market, and, people are selling their wares, but there is a big commotion. And that commotion is that you see these guards with these helmets butchering people, and, they're just trying to get out of the way, but you can see that there is a box that's being pulled. But it's got ropes and shit on it, but it's being pulled by a pack of cats, like domestic cats. It's the strangest thing you've ever seen, but the cats are getting struck down by these dog warriors, and the cats kind of pull up to the players, and they're too few in number to carry this box anymore. And you can see that one of these cats looks right at the players, and he has a jade key in his mouth. He's just carrying this key, and he drops the key into the player's mouth, he drops the from his mouth into the players, and that cat dies. The remaining dog warriors see that the cats have dropped this box into the laps of the players, and they don't ask any questions. They immediately take their curved, like Kopesh, Egyptian swords, and they try to hack them apart. Now the players, they defeat these dog warriors, but they're like, okay, we've got this weird box, a bunch of dead cats. What the fuck is happening here? They look at the box. The box has three distinct ornate locks. One is onyx, one is jade, one is platinum, or actually electrum. Because we're dealing with Egyptians here. So they're these really elaborate, beautiful locks, and you have one of the jade keys. They look at the hieroglyphics on the box, and it clearly says, "This is the box with three locks. You cannot open it, or you will be cursed. If you open this thing, but it must be opened with the three keys for the three locks, and the three keys are held by three pharaohs." So the players are like, "Oh shit. Okay, well, we'll get this box to the pharaoh, who runs this place." And so they pick up and they start to deliver the box. They are badgered by animals along the way, and even led astray by like an owl that kind of leads them off into the desert. In the desert there's a sandstorm, and in the sandstorm they see cats playing in the sands. And they're like, what the fuck am I looking at? And in the desert, there is a guy that is, he's got tattered robes, and he is, among these cats. And he himself is wearing a golden cat mask, like the god Bast. And when he sits down, we're calling him the Lost Pharaoh at this particular moment. And he explains to you what is in that box. He says, look, this land is ruined by tyranny of the Pharaohess. She has taken the god Cerberus and commanded these lands, and ruled with fear and terror, using this god, behind her. I once ruled this land, and I did with the power of the Sphinx. What you have in that box is the soul of the Sphinx itself, and I know how to release it, and I know how to use it. If you help me retake this kingdom, then you will restore this kingdom back to its rightful place. And he offers them the golden cat mask. The cat mask allows the players to create familiars. It's a really interesting, cool magic item. The Lost Pharaoh leads the players to the temple of the Pharaohess, and says, we must get the third key. So he actually has he's got one of the keys as well, and the Electrum key is the last key. They attack the like a religious temple, and essentially steal the last key, and the Pharaoh knows where it is. They then open the box, and they remove out of the box this black onyx statue. The Pharaoh, the Lost Pharaoh, presents the statue to a sphinx, an actual stone sphinx in the ground, and he commands it to rise. It does. It is a god among it's a god, and the sphinx rises, and you see that the Pharaohess, in response to him calling this sphinx, who has a pack of these 7 giant jackals. They're these huge evil jackals, and they're all cackling, and she uses her stone. She's got a stone Cerberus, a 3-headed dog, and the stone statue of the 3-headed dog that animates, and then we have our climax, which is the Sphinx and the Cerberus fighting on top of a pyramid, while the players are attacked by the 7 giant jackals trying to defeat the Empress. And then that's it. That's the climax, the end.
Awesome. I got a little things.
This is a one-shot?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
It might be a little. Is it too long for a one shot?
Well, I think if we put it in a one shot, we're not doing it justice. That's what I think. I think this is like a 3-session adventure. But yeah, you can also put it in a one shot. No, and that's not a question. It is so rich that you can expand so much.
I agree, but go ahead, Mr. P.
I love the visuals. I think the beginning is the weak point. You need more evil Pharaoh. For example, let me give you an example. So the guy is running with the box, and he gets speared, and he gives the players the box, and he's run, you fool, right? And all of a sudden, the dark clouds come, and I guess the shadow dog come and start eating his dead body, and the Pharaoh appears, and she gives the blood coins, right, to his army, blood for blood, something like that. And they're like, oh shit, this Pharaoh guy, or girl, she's dangerous, right? She can appear out of nowhere, she can make shadow dogs appear, right? and like even her army is afraid. Like even though they kill the guy, they're afraid when she comes. And like you can describe that moment, right? So to make her to make players see their pants.
The only issue with that is that at first they're gonna want to deliver the box to her, but they won't want to deliver the box to her if they see her like that.
Yeah.
I was thinking that, you know, like it would be fine to send one of her jackal minions. You know, she has these 7 giant jackals.
To send
Yeah,
one.
but you already have that problem because if I understood correctly, the cats are carrying the box, and the Pharaoh's army is killing the cats. The
Yep.
cats give the box, and the players kill the Pharaoh's army. And
Yep.
why would they go back to Pharaoh if they kill their
Yeah, can I guys introduce something? Because I also wanted to change this part. Personally, I would let go entirely of the idea of delivering the box to the Pharaoh. So we like the whole purpose of dog people attacking us and attacking cats is to communicate that that they are evil, and I want us to communicate earlier that like the Pharaoh is the evil one, that she's evil. So we know it right away. So that twist we are getting rid of because it makes things simpler. And I like the idea that instead of animals kind of haranguing us into the cat Jesus's arms, instead we are. I don't know if that was something from Indiana Jones movie or something like that, but basically what you are doing is that you know that you have a priceless good artifact and you are basically trying to escape with it away from Nazis. Like this is the picture that I have in my head.
Yeah, they have the artifact, and now it's a chasing game. Like, what do we do with it? Like, let's figure it out. Which slowly leads them to the good guy.
Yep, that's how I see it. Another thing,
I didn't quite understand that. Sorry, if you could you explain that just again? I didn't totally understand how that worked.
Okay, so we are starting in the market just as you described. Dog guards, cats carrying the stuff. They attack us. The only difference that I'm introducing is that the players do not initially think that they have to deliver the box to the Pharaoh. Instead, we immediately communicate that the Pharaohess and all of her guards are bad. I don't have a specific way to do this, but we can just find ways to communicate that currently the establishment in this country rules everything by theory. So we are completely getting rid of the part where players try to deliver it to the Pharaohs first, and instead what we have is that we have a bunch of dog guards. We don't even have to kill them initially. What we are trying to communicate to players is that they are now running away from the dog guards. So either they kill the guards that are chasing them, or they run away, or maybe more guards show up and the players have to run away. And the whole idea is that all the players know at this point is that they have a good aligned, valuable artifact that really bad guys are after. And at that point, they can go find the cat Jesus and stuff.
But how do you communicate that? So, I mean, why don't they just drop this thing? Because it's dangerous, right? So how do you communicate that this is valuable for them and that they have to deliver it to the
You know what's kind of cool about that is that we don't need to. Like, let's say they drop the box. That's okay. You can drop the box and the Pharaohess can get it because she can't open it. She doesn't have the last key. We still could go through the exact same thing. The animals lead you to the Lost Pharaoh, and the Lost Pharaoh explains.
But what if they drop the key as well?
Yeah, what is
If they drop the key, then the Pharaohess will have 2 keys, and the Lost Pharaoh still has 1.
Yeah, but the players don't have the direction.
Well, they'll get led by the animals. The animals essentially would lead them to the Lost Pharaoh.
But it's not up to them. I mean, they don't have any motivation to do that, right? They could just go home.
Can I ask, like, did you already, what? You probably already had an idea that the Pharaoh sent the players to get the box, and then they met the Lost Pharaoh, right? So, why did you not choose that?
Why did we not do that? because
Like the players come to the Pharaoh, and Pharaoh is like super evil. He kills a guy for looking him funny, and it's like, I'm gonna kill. If you don't bring me this box, I'm gonna kill all your relatives. Right? And and players have to do it. And when they get the box and they're pretty sad, right? Then you introduce the Lost Pharaoh.
we did have that initially, but we ran into a problem with this because you had an objective. We were scared that people would be like, even though there was another objective once they met the Lost Pharaoh, and be like, oh, we're delivering something to this Pharaoh, and that could be bad. We were worried that the players might be like, no, I'm going to follow through with the objective. I'm getting the box to the Pharaoh-S.
Yeah,
And that's not the way you want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and personally, I
and
feel like the twist, like I really wanted to get rid of the twist about the pharaohs being evil, because I feel like it kind of makes our adventure very different. Because then we first go to the pyramid, we see that she's evil, but now she has the box, and it all kind of falls apart in my head.
Yeah.
So
No, not really. No, because she still needs the last key from the good pharaoh, right? So she can tell them, okay, now go fetch me the key.
But then the whole adventure it goes backwards. It's inverted from what we what the a little mystery goal is. I still cannot figure that one out. But what I want to remind you is that this is a one shot, and that players and the DM kind of know that there is a certain way of that it is a linear, or it has many different paths, but it still has paths, as opposed to in a campaign where players do something and then you just go with the flow.
Yeah, then the players say, "Yeah, fuck you. We're gonna go to a bar."
Yeah, and you're like, okay, so there is a bar then. Now, in one shot, players know that there's 3, 4, 5 hours, and that the story has a beginning and the end. They kind of know it.
Yeah, personally, I
What
100% agree with it, and I want to say
here's-
that. Okay, so picture yourself as a player. You're sitting in a bar, the whole dramatic scene happens. A bunch of extremely evil guys slaughter everybody and slaughter cats. Then an adorable little black kitty with huge eyes, bleeding out of his stomach, walks up to you on trembling little paws, and he meows desperately and just drops a key into your hand and looks at the box and dies. Like, are you going to ignore him?
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna do everything for the kitty. And was like, yeah.
Yes, thank you for that, Mike.
Yeah, you're right.
All
You're
right.
right.
It may be cliche, but you could also use visions, like when players get the box, they get the vision of like evil emperor destroying everything. Maybe the vision getting the box to the emperor, and the vision of everything. Kind of cliche.
Just to add that, maybe a flute didn't say or remiss it. We will have the DM will have descriptions of the players will know how bad the. Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry. No, I tangled my thoughts. Yeah. Continue. Sorry.
No, I just finished. I thought if you want the players to know that it's bad to give it to the pharaoh, you can give them visions. When they touch the box, they see the vision.
Or background information that they know.
We tried to do that in hieroglyphics on the box, to kind of say that there's a poem that essentially, like, this is the box with 3 locks. There are 3 keys and 3 pharaohs. Maybe we could actually illustrate that, to show the tyranny of pharaohs or something like that. I don't totally know, but I actually agree that I don't think. I mean, once Mike pointed out with the little black kitty, I don't think that we're going to have a problem with the players are going to know what to do. They're like, let's move this box.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's fair enough. I will just say I really like the Lost Pharaoh and those descriptions, and everything after that was amazing. I don't know where do you come up with those stuff? I could never think of anything like that.
You know, you probably could. I think if you keep on running games, you know, like when you run games over and over and over, and you start looking for, you start looking for,
Holes and
yeah, and what inspirations, I watch movies, I read books, I have, I have any kind of entertainment, I consume it, and I remember it, and then, and I can see it in my head. And then just spit it out, and I think that's because I've had to run games for 40 years. When you're doing it that long, it's just
you ran games for 40 years.
Yeah,
he is 41 years old.
You are 41 years old. I legitimately thought that you were younger. You have such a wow. Okay,
No,
nice.
I was joking. I have no idea.
No, but
I am just
actually
about to turn 48.
No shit. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Wow. You have a very healthy and young voice. That is very good.
Well, that's good.
He is healthy and young.
Yeah,
He's
I
only
believe.
48.
Yeah, I believe.
exactly.
but I think that for me this is what gives me inspiration. I couldn't come up with such a story on my own. No way. But like just ping ponging an idea just multiplies it.
Or you could have, but not it wouldn't click as this clicked. Like you could have developed one piece, but not such other pieces and parts as well as with all together.
Yeah, I mean, Lumen brought everyone brought everything to the table, but Lumen's whole idea of this Cerebus and this three-headed dog empire. As soon as you start saying shit like that, I see things in my head, and it's just badass. That really made things. There was two things that happened with this game. Lumen brought it into Egypt, and he brought Cerebus as a bad
he
guy.
reversed it. Yeah, he reversed
Yeah,
it.
he reversed it. Yeah.
And then it just clicked.
Yeah, and it really did. It really clicked. It became as soon as you can start to see the characters and see the action, that's when I know that a story has legs. It has it has life to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, I think this is a great one. I think that we can just write it down and start at the marketplace with the cats being slain.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, we can always rewrite it. We do play test these things after all. But anyway, I think that we pretty much nailed everything. What do you guys think?
Yep.
Same.
Yep, I'm gonna say it's a good time to wrap things up. I'm gonna say that thank you guys so much for participating. This was an amazing session, very inspired, everybody has contributed amazing ideas. So I would really love to see you in our future sessions, and I had a ton of fun. I hope you guys did too. One last thing I wanted to say before we go is that I'm looking for people who want to run their own sessions, because the more people we have running sessions, the more people have opportunities to participate in them. You can run sessions whenever it's convenient for you. If any of you want to do this, just message me, and I will do my best to help you organize and run your own sessions. And yeah, and if any part of running the session feels confusing or intimidating to you, or if you don't want to run for any other reason, just let me know, and I will just do my best to make it as easy for you as possible. And yeah, but also if you just want to participate, it's also okay. So yeah.
Yeah, this was amazing. Thank you, Lumen. Thank you, Flute. Thank you, Mr. P and Conan and Parker. It was really, I had a blast, and I hope that we do this as regular as we can. It's really awesome.
I'll be able to run games more. So all that needs to happen is once we have a formal, this is the way that it's done, and we can walk through it like a template, then, I can run games. And I'm in America, so I can run at a very different time than everyone else.
Yeah.
And so that might be very helpful.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. And yeah. Flute, if you have a bit more time, and if you wanted to talk about what we were planning to talk about, was it
Sure.
Mirage or Figma or whatever, you can just stay around here. And
Sure.
yeah, thanks everybody so much for participating. It's been really good.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Cheers.
Thank
See
you so
ya.
much. See you. See you around. Bye bye.
It's a pleasure meeting you guys.